Yeah, we're live. Just lean a little bit forward because we can't see you. I can change it. Alright, do we want to start recording?
Yeah.
I'll both really decide. Oh, we got people already.
There's like 3 words.
I know, right? Alright, we are recording. Alright, so this is the first official ever episode of the Birdie Bros podcast. I'm Zack, Forgash, one half of the podcast.
I'm Travis Teeple.
And today we are joined by Troy Kelly. Troy, what's going on, man?
Not much, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. So, we've tried getting this going for a little while now, right? Probably a little over a month, and it's been fun, and we're finally here, so.
Audio problems.
Yeah, man, this all came as just a fun little idea, right? I'm a huge podcast guy. I listen to them all the time. We have a bunch of cool friends who seem to know a lot about golf and have a big history in it, and I think a lot of people want to hear what they have to say. So, Troy, obviously, you spent a lot of time on the PGA Tour, so I'm sure you have quite a bit of, stories and memories from, that kind of life. Kind of retired now, right? What exactly are you doing in the golf space now?
Well, basically, just starting to teach a little bit. Locally here, I've tried to get my hands on some other stuff and hasn't worked out, but my main focus now is golf again. That's been one of the main things that I've focused on my whole life, and looking forward to kind of teaching people all the stuff that I've, learned over the years traveling and playing and being around big players, so I'm excited.
Right.
When did you start playing golf, Troy?
From as far back as I can remember, when I could walk basically, and that's what my dad told me. He kind of had a club, in my hand when I was a kid, and started swinging when I was, could swing it basically, and I started competing when I was about 6, and the local stuff around here, and then I just kind of kept playing, but I enjoyed it. I remember going to the golf course when I was a kid with my dad, and I remember getting a big old 5-gallon paint bucket of balls, because he was opening the shop and I was going to be there all day and just throw balls down and just start hitting them and grab another one, go look for balls.
So your dad was a club pro.
Yeah. He was a pro when basically when I was born, and then he went to Gold Mountain for about 12 years and assistant up there.
Yeah.
And then, so I'd wake up with him in the mornings and we'd leave the golf course at 4, or leave the golf course at 4:30. It was dark, and I'd sleep in the car till 6:30, 7. I'd wake up, go have breakfast, go hit balls, and just kind of hang out all day. And then he was done with his day. I'd go back home. And
so you were kind of like a child prodigy in a way, do you think?
I wouldn't say a child prodigy, but it was more of something that I grew up around. I grew up around a golf course. It wasn't that I was forced to do it. I loved being out on the golf course, being on the grass playing, whether it was football, golf, baseball. We were always hanging out on the golf course.
When did you know that, hey, I'm better than pretty much everybody at this? And when did you know that, I might be able to make this a career? What age does that hit you?
Oh man, I think you start having dreams when you're a kid, thinking about that stuff as a young age, because you see all these other great players and you want to be like them. But I would say probably, I would say I realized I was a good player probably at the age of 6 or 7, to be honest.
That young?
Yeah, because I was the youngest to start competing, against all the older kids in WJJ. I started 2 years prior to the age of 8 that you needed to be. So I was the youngest to start. And so I just remember going, gosh, I can already play with these 8 to 11 or 10-year-old kids, or I was already beating them. And so I'm going, okay, I can do this, I'm pretty good. And then they were like, hey, you can come play with these guys, so I was already out there competing, and I never really thought about it. It was just that I just wanted to beat all the older kids. When you're a young kid, you just want to beat your brother, or you want to beat the kids that are bigger than you, and if you do, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people probably know, but some may not. You do have a brother, Ryan, who is a pretty accomplished golfer in his own right. Did that help your game growing up, having to try and beat, and he's your older or younger brother? Older brother. So you're the young bro. What is that like, having to try and beat big bro all the time?
Well, you just grow up trying to beat him. It's just, you're kind of not forced, but you just want to be competitive. You want to beat your brother. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's baseball, like I said, basketball, we were just always competitive, but he was good in the sense that he wanted to make me better, and he understood, but then he also wanted to be better than me, so it pushed him in a way, to not let me beat him, and then I was always wanting to beat him. So we helped each other in a sense, I think, and still to this day, we go out and play, we're very competitive. We want to beat the crap out of each other. embedded in you, you know, it just happens. And, you know, even with my dad still wants to beat me. Even if I'm giving him shots, we want to beat each other. It's fun.
So you think a lot of that, just competitiveness, do you think it came from other sports as well too? Like, you mentioned basketball. How much do you think the other sports played into your professional career of golf?
I think it played a lot. I mean, basketball obviously was one of my other passions. I love basketball, but, you know, golf and basketball are different in a sense, and there's some similarities too, you know, but for me, basketball was fun because golf wasn't, you're an aggressive sport, but you don't get to bang around and, you know, bump elbows and push around and get some aggression out, and that's the side that I liked about basketball was, you know, D'ing up on a guy and being aggressive and, you know, banging around, pushing around and having fun, and that was, I just loved it. It was a sport that I could play in the winter when it was kind of shitty weather, and then as summer got closer, the clubs started coming out and started hitting balls, and then it was summertime and ready to go for golf. So it worked out great for me because I got a little break from golf, which I thought was good looking back now, because I remember kids growing up, they were living here, leaving here, and then by the time they were 16 or 17, they were worn out. You know, playing golf all year round. And so the break in between for basketball and golf for me, I thought it was huge because it kept me excited to go play golf. And then when basketball was, I'm excited to start playing basketball again. So I think those sports teach you all kinds of stuff, you know, for golf and vice versa for golf too.
So speaking of basketball, have you been paying attention to any of the March Madness stuff going on?
I mean, a little bit. I've been watching the Dogs a little bit, you know.
That was a heartbreaker.
They lost by 40. How was it a heartbreaker?
Well, I mean, up to halftime it was competitive.
Yeah, I didn't even see the game.
Well, then what are you talking about?
I saw the final score. It was competitive though at some point.
Oh yeah, at halftime they're down 8, and the refs just screwed us.
Well, we know who you are in refs.
Yeah.
How about Duke almost losing though, huh?
Yeah.
That's quite interesting.
Close one.
Yeah. So as far as basketball goes, where was the line where you had to be like, man, I love basketball, but I don't want to get injured because I have a golf career here. Like, do you have to balance that? I mean, where do you draw a line there?
I think when I was in high school, I never even thought about getting injured because it was like drop the clubs straight to basketball. I didn't even think about it. But as I got closer to, you know, going to college, you know, when I was starting to focus on golf being the main sport that I was going to play, I did start to think about that, you know, just because you have little ankle tweaks or you poke a finger, you jam a finger, it was easy to get hurt, a knee, you know, and then I started feeling my hips obviously later, but I didn't really think about the injuries, but I just remember going, man, I can't wait for basketball every year because I was excited to play. I loved it.
Yeah, and so speaking of hips, I mean, your career was somewhat plagued towards the end due to a lot of injuries, right? I mean, by all accounts, you had an extremely successful golf career, way more successful than the majority of the people who've ever played on tour, but maybe to your standards, not what you kind of wanted. But how much did injuries, and what kind of injuries did you sustain?
Well, I basically got my hip replaced in 2010, so it's been about 9 years now. I feel good, but those injuries were something that it sidelined me, but it wasn't something that didn't allow me to play anymore. I wanted to keep playing, you know, but the knee came, and it was just kind of something that happened over and over. You know, you hurt one thing, and then I limped around thinking, well, I'm gonna get better. Well, I hurt my knee limping around, kind of walking funny forever. So it was frustrating. You know, being an athlete, being someone that wants to compete, it's hard to sit on the sidelines and not feel 100% and then try and go compete.
Right. Yeah, and golf's a weird one, right? Because you don't really think like it's not an extremely physical sport, but there are a lot of guys who, you know, run through some issues with injuries. Do you think it's genetic, or is it just wear and tear of walking a million golf holes with, you know, in your life?
I think it could be a little bit of both. I think it could be genetic, you know, and obviously the toll of walking a golf course. You know, if you get injured or you have something in your lower body, hurting knees, hips, anything, you don't get to go jump in a cart.
Right.
You know, you got to go walk 4 or 5 miles. So that was the battle that I was going through. Was I'd start playing my practice round. Well, if my hip started to get inflamed, you know, it started to swell up a little bit, and I just basically had to stop. Where it was hurting so much that I was walking even funnier and limping more, and I just knew that I just had to take a break, get it feeling okay, so I was ready to go when Thursday came around, you know. So those days of in between was trying to rest and not push it too much, and then limiting the practice, you know, sitting there wailing on balls and beating balls all day. That put more stress on it, and then trying to just, you know, find that middle ground of being strong, healthy, feeling okay too. You know.
No,
So your amateur career was awesome, and then you go from playing WJGA to University of Washington, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, leaving school was tough because I was in the position where my grades were not great.
Yeah.
I was spent a lot more time golfing than I probably should have been, but that's what I wanted to do. I knew that's what I wanted to do. Was it the greatest decision? Maybe not, looking back. I wish I would have worked a little bit harder in school, honestly, to finish out and graduate. But it was a hard combination to battle the balance of school and having some fun and golf. Golf
Right.
in college, you're gone a lot.
Yeah.
And so I remember coming back going, God, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I'd be lost, and then it was the tutors and going to practice and then having to go meet with tutors after practice to make sure that my grades were good, and then meetings and then workouts, and then my time management was terrible. If I could manage my time like I do nowadays, I'd be a way better student. I just wish you knew some of these things now back then. And I think I would have been more interested in learning now that I'm a little bit older. At that time, it was just like, I'm looking around, girls, well, what do I do? I'm thinking about hitting balls, and guys up on the mic trying to talk to me. I'm like, is this our guest speaker for today? In the first class at Payne Hall? I'm like, dude, I'm gonna struggle to learn like this.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's your teacher. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It doesn't work out real good.
Yeah.
So if you could go back and do it again, would you choose UW? I mean, I'm sure you could have went to pretty much any school you wanted. Do you think maybe if I would have left my comfort zone, and can't come home on weekends, it might have changed anything?
Looking back, yeah, I had thought about that, but I remember thinking too, after I went to school, going, I love my coach. I had the greatest coach ever. Odie was such a cool coach. He was young, he was fun, he kept us competitive. We played other sports along with golf, during practice. We did fun run things. We did fun, team leaving on retreats and making the retreats fun for the guys. I mean, that was part of the reason that I stayed. And he really came after me. I mean, he was like, hey, I want you to come to school here.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, dude. I just loved him. I loved everything about it. I loved that I was going to be home. I didn't love the weather,
Right.
But then I didn't travel a lot when I was a junior. I didn't play AJGAs, and I didn't play all that stuff in travel. I played, like, if I was in Washington, I could travel for something, and like it was Doug Sanders, I could qualify for that. If I could qualify for the U.S. Junior, like, I didn't have the money to go out and do AJGA, and get all this attention. Back then, it was like, I was playing with guys that, dude, I'm whooping your ass all the time, and you're getting recruited from this school. Well, why? Because you finished 10th in the AJGA. There was just more access for people to get noticed playing those things. More colleges were looking at those tournaments, not who's winning in your state, who's the best player in there. They were looking at who's playing in the AJGA events.
And you see that now a lot too, right? Like the whole, what your amateur golf ranking is, and you see guys who might go that, and then there's a guy who maybe no one's ever heard of, and then they turn pro, and they're out there just killing it right away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few different ways to do it. And how much has that changed, like amateur golf, to where you're at, to where you think things are at now? Guys are turning pro earlier now, later?
I would say they're doing it, a little earlier to me.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at some of these young guys, like, Spieth obviously having success, and all these young guys are playing good. It shows that the mini tours are better.
Yeah.
The colleges are prepping these guys to shoot lower scores. They're used to shooting lower scores. They're seeing lower scores everywhere you go. When you see 66 or 68, you just know that's where I gotta get.
Yeah,
that's the level that I have to get to. It's like, I look at the junior scores. Dude, we used to shoot 74 or 5, and I'd win a fucking tournament.
Right.
Now you show up, I'm looking at these kids, you guys shoot under 70 or, around 70, or you don't win.
Yeah.
And so the competition's getting better, and that's with everything, in every sport.
Yeah. Yeah, guys seem to be tour ready from a really young age, and you have just last week, what's his, Axel Batia or something, 17-year-old amateur guy. He was 4 over something, he barely missed the cut, but the kid is 17 years old, playing in the Valspar Championship, shoots 74, 72, you know what I mean? Like, that's incredible. Yeah, it's interesting to say, and like you said, with all sports, we seem to be seeing that, right? From a very young age, guys are getting significantly better.
Yeah, and the thing that impresses me the most watching these young guys, for me, going out from not playing on tour to, like my first tournament, like a PGA Tour event, was the US Open. So I remember going up there and I'm going, well, there's people doing all this hole, you know, like you guys are in my way.
Right.
You know, so to go from an arena where you don't have ropes and you don't have galleries and you don't have people and grandstands, that's a visual intimidator. When you step up on a golf course, it's just golf course, you're just like, oh, okay, I hit everywhere. When you have people and you have grandstands and it looks like a freaking bowling alley that you got to hit in between, it changes your thought. Now you're starting to worry about not just golf, you're worried about everything else around it.
Hitting somebody.
And golf's hard enough to focus on itself. So that's the big thing that impresses me is these young guys go from playing not in front of people, but being able to stay focused inside the ropes, in front of that many people, and be able to still play their good golf.
Yeah. Well, like, so waste management, 16th hole, stadium. Is it a different feeling than the practice round when that thing is full? I mean, it's an easy hole, right? But
Absolutely. I mean, you feel it. I would say, like, as a player, you start hearing the noise, but you know it's coming. If you've played in it before, and you know that's coming, you're thinking about it a couple holes in advance.
Really?
You know what you're getting into. You can hear the crowds. You hear stuff going on 14, and now you hit your drive on 15. You hear the roars, and you can kind of hear everything going on. You're like, okay, I gotta get ready to step
Did you
it
like
up.
it?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. It was fun. You know, I was always down there with Bianchi. You know, I stayed with Bianchi. I was having fun, and you know, it's just a good atmosphere. You know, I think guys that don't like that atmosphere or don't want to be a part of that, they don't like it, and that's why some of those big guys don't come and play. You know, they don't want to deal with it. But I think if you go in there with the right mindset and just say, hey, they're having fun, I'm having fun. I like to party, you know, so I was looking at like, hey, these guys are having fun, this is what I'd want to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have a beer and I would be barking at these guys. I mean, those guys in the crowd, they do their homework, dude. I'll tell you what, you step up on that tee, that lower left corner when you first walk in, they know if your wife's fucked around on you, they know if you're...
they get their dirt.
They got their dirt and they're barking at you and they're letting you know. They don't care.
Any dirt on you?
No.
But
they're making you think the whole time. You know, they want to fuck you up and they want to see you hit a bad shot.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That's fun too. I mean, it's so different because golf, we're used to it being like this silent sport. No one's allowed to talk. You're not supposed to do anything. And we live in this world now where everyone's got their phones out. It's all social media based. I mean, it's got to be, I imagine, a lot more difficult, right?
It is. It's fun. I mean, well, you got people that are they want to see what you're doing. They want to record everything. They can take it home and look at it when they go home. And I think that's another thing that why kids are getting so good young is there's so much stuff on video and how to teach yourself from home, not just, you know, go to your local guy and figure it out, but that's another way too. There's different avenues for guys to learn the golf swing now, you know, as a young player and not just learning it from a local guy, but you got to see a local guy to get, I think, advice in learning how to, you know, strategize around a golf course and learn course management and which clubs to choose. And when you're getting to a higher level, there's other things you got to learn how to take your spin off your wedges and control it, where to place your ball, to putt, to make putts, you know, things like that. So there's different things that you know you're gonna learn, and learning by just practice, dude. There's no freaking shortcut in golf. You know, you have to practice because somebody can tell you what to feel, but if you don't feel it yourself, you're not gonna get it. Yeah. You know. Yeah,
and we touched on this a little bit before, like, you know, practicing here, right? Playing here. What is it like playing in other states, like where conditions are different? You're putting not on POA, or, you know, it's predominantly what we see here, but it's different conditions. The ball might go farther, it might go shorter, it's different. You know, I've never even played golf outside of Washington, so I know what I know here. I don't know what it's like there. What is it like to show up to an event in Florida and you're just like, I'm sorry, what are we doing here?
Well, yeah, obviously traveling around as a kid a little bit, I got to Plains and Grasses, but that was one thing that I had to learn, you know, starting in college, because I didn't leave a lot. You know, I didn't play in Florida, I didn't play in Atlanta, I didn't play in all these, and you go there and you're like, oh, there's different grass here. Here I'm at elevation. Oh, and now they got wind.
Right.
So now you're starting to factor all those things. It's not just, now you're learning the conditions, you're learning the grass, you're learning where your elevation is. I mean, now they have TrackMan, right? So those guys get up, they already know their elevation, they set it. I mean, TrackMan and these things, I mean, just to get up to every week and just like what DJ hits a couple wedges, okay, 105 or whatever. Yeah. With that, boom, you move on to the next one. I mean, those are things that are giving these guys good feedback and good information. I think that's why the wedges, everybody's starting to hit their wedges better. Yeah. They're controlling their distances better because you can actually sit there, hit one, and feel it, and then tap back in and do it again.
And this isn't the week of. This is the day of.
This is the day
you see
of.
guys on the range right before that. This
Absolutely.
is maybe to the nth degree. But Bryson DeChambeau last year, what he did is he took a spray bottle and sprayed each one of his range balls, or had someone do it for him, so he could simulate what the mist would be like, or the dew would be like playing in the early morning, to see if any water on the ball would make the flight change. He's obviously a little out there,
Sure.
but I mean that's what we're kind of seeing, right? I mean, people want to be so. I mean, the margin of error here is so little that guys are like, any little advantage they can get, they're taking advantage of.
Yeah,
It's crazy, right?
It is crazy, and like you said, they're shaving little shots, quarter shots.
And that's the
difference.
difference,
That level,
right?
that's the difference. Is the mental part, and then where are you shaving a shot, half shot, quarter shot better than the next guy?
Yeah.
Because over 4 days, a half shot, that's 2 shots at the end of the tournament.
Well, not only is it 2 shots on the PGA Tour. Say you're in 8th and you bump down to 10th. That might be a $200,000 difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that with a lot of guys. When I see guys who maybe they're not a big name, and I watch them 3-putt on 18 or something, we don't think much of it. Because I'm like, well, they weren't in contention anyways. And I was sitting there looking at the end of the round, like how much they made. And I was like, dude, that's 6 figures you just lost because you didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's got to be an insane amount of stress.
Have you ever had any close calls out there as far as like where you needed to make a cut and you actually went out there and made the cut and made the money?
Gosh, I'm trying to think of one example. As far as like making the cut to make money to keep playing.
U.S. Open?
Yeah, I mean U.S. Open, dude. That was one where I was kind of getting down to where I was living on my own money and doing it on my own buck, and that was one that was. It took a while too, because we all sat around waiting for that thing, and when I finished the Open, I remember, everybody coming over, and Todd Millis and all these guys, hey, sorry, you didn't make it, and I was just thinking, gosh, that sucks. I didn't know right at the time. I was thinking, God, it might be close, just depending. But they were already acting like I had missed it. I think I was 10 or 12 guys outside the cut line at that point, and so I was kind of like bummed out. I didn't know, but I hadn't given up completely yet, Yeah. But I was like, gosh, dude, really? And so I did my interviews thinking in my mind that I didn't make it. And then when I left, I remember looking, I think there was, it went down to about 8 or 10 guys again, so it was kind of going back and forth a little bit. And so I was still trying to stay positive, but I was home. So I left the golf course, went home for a little bit. And then I came back, Bishop called me, and that's when Waste Connections was kind of helping me with everything. And so we came out, we kind of sat around, I started having a couple beers, just kind of waiting, not really knowing what was going on. And I sat down and watched those guys coming down the 8th hole, and I can't remember what the guy's name was, but I knew that if he made bogey on 8, par...
Nick Hardy.
Yeah, I think yes. So he had come down 8, I don't know if he made bogey or par, but I remember he had to play 9, and if he makes birdie, I think he bumps us all out, and if he makes bogey, he lets a bunch in. I think that was the scenario. And so I sat there, and we were up top there watching, and I remember he kind of wiped it over in the right bunker, short right. Yeah. And I was thinking, okay, I'm just, you don't want to root against a guy. Right. You're never doing that, but you're just praying that you want to play. Yeah. And that's what I was doing. I was just going, hey, I don't want to dirty root this guy, but I want to play. Right. I'm home. I want to play in front of my hometown again. So I was. He got it on the green and 2-putted. He didn't make it, obviously, and that let, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 of us in. And
then where did your focus go after you're like, I have 2 more rounds of golf to play? Because you ended up playing really well over the week, and I think you had one of the lowest scores on Sunday. Obviously, you weren't in contention, but, you're playing for something. You're playing for money. Yeah. What was it like having to get to play Saturday and Sunday out there?
It was just a good feeling, just to know that I was home again, and then to go experience what I had already experienced for 2 days previous, and like I told you guys before, like I wasn't out on the road, everybody knowing who I was. So when I was there, it was a great feeling to have people yelling, hey, 2K, and people knowing me. And then when I got done, it was like I had people talking to me when I was done, like, hey, it's fun, cool, little guy. I get done, I'm just like, head to the locker, grab a beer, or, grab a Gatorade and jump in the car, go figure out where I'm going next week and hit the road. But it was cool just to finish and have people saying, hey, Troy, good job. And it's a lot of fun.
All the places that you've played, what's the most, or your top spot that you would really, really enjoy and you really look forward to?
Oh gosh, as far as tournaments?
Or just course,
I actually loved Valspar.
Really?
Valspar was one of my, I really liked that golf course because it was, it's in good shape for one.
It's Innisbrook, yeah?
Yeah,
Copperhead?
yep. Yeah, but good finish. You know, you obviously see that last week, the snake pit. It's just a good finish, but I visually like the golf course. There's a little bit of wind, but it was tree lined where you see the shape of the holes through the trees a little bit, which for me that was like Washington golf, right? And I was like, God, these guys, you know, they hate the trees. And I'm going, I love this, you know. It was fun. I loved when they played Wells Fargo, you know, every year. What's that tournament called now?
It's a good question. I don't even know.
They change every year, but God, I love that tournament. Now they've changed it a little bit. The greens are new, but
what course?
The one in Charlotte there, where they have Wells Fargo every year. I can't think of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, good golf course. Another one that's tree line, you know, good shape, shaping. You see the shape of the holes through the trees. It's great.
Yeah. So I want to touch on something. Tiger Woods. What is it like when you sign up, you're in an event, and you look at the field, and you see that dude's name on there? I don't think you've ever played with him, right?
Never played with him.
Well, what is it like knowing that I'm competing against Tiger Woods, and even if you lose, but seeing that, like, oh, at least I beat Tiger. You know what I mean? What is that like?
It's cool. It is. I mean, when they say that when Tiger's at an event, it's a different event.
Totally different event, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. There's more people. You know, if you're in his wave, you know, or close to his wave, you go to the putting green, dude, it is freaking packed.
Yeah.
You know, and you walk around, there's more bodies, there's more people, there's more excitement. You can almost feel it in the players, you know,
right?
That he's here, and it is. It's just it's a different feeling, but you feel it in the crowd. You really do. There's just more. There's more bodies. There's more people. But those are the bigger events too. I don't know how many events I played with Tiger in it, but there's no doubt, dude. There's more bodies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More bodies, more excitement. But I remember when I played in Phoenix when he was freaking having that chipping deal. I played
with the yips.
I think I played the group in front of him. It was either the group in front of him or the group behind him, because I just remember everybody coming through, you know, and going ahead, right? So I was having to deal with it, you know. So that was the first time I felt like the crowd's being like, dude, you guys are fucking in my way.
Right.
You know, you're bothering me. You're moving a ton.
Yeah.
You know, and as soon as he put out, it was just, people were just
It's like a stampede.
Stampede. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to hit one out in the fairway, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're just there about Tiger.
Yeah.
You know, and they want to see him hit it.
So talking about excitement, the Greenbrier, you played really well in that. Can you kind of give us a backdrop of what that was like? You placed second in a playoff with Teddy Potter Jr. That had to be pretty special, you know, time in your life.
Yeah, that was good because it's not that I needed a caddy change, but I had, you know, my brother come out. I think he had been on the bag for maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to that.
Yeah.
Nothing, had a couple, you know, nice finishes, but I wasn't playing great. But I went over there, and, you know, it's like golf. Golf can kind of change, you know, in a week, in a couple of days, in an hour, in a swing too. And so I just went there, same attitude. I remember I didn't even play a practice round. I didn't get to play a practice round. So I actually walked the course with Jason Gore, his caddy, me and Ryan, and I just remember going around and going, oh, this is a good looking golf course, you know. And I remember my dad all the time, you know, God, you gotta go play a practice round. Play a practice round. Go see the whole golf course. Play it again. Play it again. Play it again. Well, I never even played the golf course, and I had one of my best finishes.
Huh.
But that just goes to show you that, you know, you don't always have to see a golf course. You know, if you like it visually and somehow you have a nice week, you can get around it. You know, it helps to see it. But that week was fun because I'd never been in that position, for one. Mm-hmm. You know, to be in a final group, to shoot a really low score on a Saturday. I mean, I just barely made the cut there, to be honest. And so I remember barely making the cut. I remember the 8th hole is that green. It's about 190. It's uphill. You don't really see the green where it lands, and it's got that big Rodin green where everything rolls off the right side into the green. Well, I remember hitting the freaking pin with a 5-iron, and my ball just drilled on the fly, and it landed about 2 feet away. It just stayed there. Yeah. And I got up on the green. I was like, oh, boom! I made birdie. And then I think I made the cut. I just barely made the cut, like I said. And then I played good Saturday, and it was like, boom. I was like,
you remember what you shot Saturday?
Yeah, 62.
Okay.
Yeah, 62.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, and so I remember sitting there going, dude, now I'm going to be close. And I remember got done, I was in the lead. You know, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have some action here. You know, this is gonna be fun. And then I was nervous too. At the same time, everything starts kind of hitting you. You're like, oh, I want to be here, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm nervous. You know, like here we go, and then start trying to think about all the things that's gonna come along because I haven't had, you know, all the cameras and the movement and the things that are going on that I hadn't been in front of. You know, and I'm going, how am I gonna handle this? I didn't know. I had no idea how I was gonna handle it. Honestly, you know, we talked about it and wanting to be there your whole career and wanting to deal with it, but how are you going to respond when the bell rings? You don't know. And so I just had to go through it, and it was fun. I'll tell you, I was super nervous. One thing that kind of freed me up, I made about an 18-footer on 2, I think. That took a lot of heat off me. It kind of made me, I kind of started believing a little bit. I made the putt. And I'll tell you what, even the next putt, I missed the green just to the right on 3, and I got a ball up and down. I didn't hit a very good chip, but I hit it about 7 feet past, and I made that again. And that really settled me. Really settled me. I started to feel okay. You know, me and Webb started talking a little bit. I didn't really know Webb.
Webb Simpson?
Yeah, Webb Simpson, yep. And, you know, his caddy, Paul, another great guy.
Paul Tesori,
yeah. Paul Tesori. Really good dude. They made me feel comfortable. You know, there's a lot of times you're out there and you guys are trying to intimidate. They know that you're uncomfortable. They want you to feel that way. And he was friendly, comfortable, hey, talkative, you know, how's it going? You know, talking about normal stuff. Didn't try to like just silence me and make me feel uncomfortable. But I had a great time. And like I said, I got off to a good start, which started the comfort started to settle for me. And I felt pretty good, I'll be honest. After about the 5th hole, it kind of started to feel like a normal round. It really did. It's hard to say that, but I actually did. I got into a comfort zone where I felt good. I started to feel confident, and I don't know how these guys do that every week, you know, but I think when you're in that moment all the time, it's just what it is. It's not a big deal. Like when I watch DJ, that's just what he does every week. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm in the final group. It's like, that's just fucking what I've been doing. That's what I do.
He expects the way.
He expects it. So, you know, for a guy like me that was getting there, it was like, I still got to get out there, overcome that to start believing. You know, you can't just get confident. You got to start seeing it, see some results, then you get some confidence. You just go, oh, I'm just going to get confident. I mean, people say it all the time. Why don't you just get confident while you're out there? Oh, okay. Is that all it is? Just get confident? You build confidence. You don't just get confident.
How much do you scoreboard watch on a Sunday of that? Do you want to know where you're at? Do you not want to know? A lot of guys are weird about that, right?
I wouldn't say I was like, because I hadn't been there again, like to watch scoreboards in a final group and be like, well, where am I at? Why am I kind of made a bogey there? It was like, I played good. I was 3 under after 5. I knew that I was right there. I didn't have to look.
And it's kind of your caddy's job too, right? Like
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I was like in the more of the mindset of like, let's just get comfortable like I was doing. Start having some fun. And then worry about, I just wanted to go out and experience that and enjoy it. I didn't go into it going, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It was like, I just want to go out there and experience this whole thing and just have some fun with it. See what's the crowd's like. What are the cameras like? Where do those guys? I didn't know. They're standing. They're moving all over. You know, so you had to just kind of stay focused, dude. And me kind of getting off to a good start really kept me focused, dude. It really did, because I knew that I didn't have that. Oh, here he goes. I didn't make the double or a dumb bogey. It was like, okay, no, he's ready to play. I'm playing, and then that confidence grew, and I started to feel comfortable. And like I said, it just kind of snowballed into playing good golf.
Do you remember when you were on 18, you had a putt to win it, didn't you? Do you remember what was going through your head with that?
I remember, yes. I remember I pulled my wedge. I probably had about 25 feet. And it's one of those ones where it's a little bit downhill the whole way. Pretty planar, pretty flat the whole way down, but just down. And if you goose it a little bit, you could have 4 or 5 feet coming back pretty easy. I knew I didn't want that. But I also wanted to try and win. In my mind, I was like, dude, you have a shot to fucking roll this in and win a golf tournament. And my brother's like, dude, let's get it there. Let's try to roll this in. That's what we did. Just try to put our best roll on. That's all you can do, dude. You can't make putts go in, right? All you can do is read the green to the best of your ability, put your best stroke on. That's what I did. I rolled it 3 feet by, and I was like, that's a little bit better than I wanted. Walking down there, coined it. Went up there, boom, went through my routine just like always, and made it.
And then in the playoff, you made like some crazy putt to extend it. It wasn't like you obviously didn't end up winning it, but it wasn't like you choked it away. I mean, he just made a really good deuce on a par 3, right? To knock you out there. So when you have a son, right? How much of this does he know? Like as he gets older, do you explain that to him? Like, does he know that, hey, like my dad like almost won a PGA Tour event? Like, how cool is that moment for you, knowing that your son's gonna grow up being able to watch that? I mean, it's on YouTube. People can watch it. It's still there.
Yeah, I don't think he gets it yet. You know, I'm still out there trying to teach him, and he's just kind of like, whatever.
Right.
You know, I don't want to put my feet like that, or I don't want to do this. So I don't think he gets it yet. Maybe one day he'll kind of understand it, but I want to teach him the game, want him to learn it. I don't care if he ever plays it to the level that I've gotten to. I just want to go out and play golf with him when he gets older, and you know, it's just such a good family sport, dude.
Yeah.
You know, to go do when you get older. I mean, you and your dad you guys are playing all the time now. I mean,
yeah, we do.
Look how much closer you and your dad are because of golf.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what my dad, my brother, and we've done forever is we still play golf together.
Yeah,
you know, like I'm gonna play with him
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a great game for so many different reasons.
Yeah, you can play it, you know, almost until you're dead, right? I mean, to whatever level that you want. You know, I'm sure if you were a scratch golfer and your game starts to dwindle to a point where you just can't do it anymore, it's probably not as enjoyable. That's what I love about golf. And even from the pro side, like, even though you see guys not hit their prime and their potential till they're 40, in other sports, you turn 30, you're probably done.
Yeah.
Like, golf is an interesting one where you can just keep playing as long as your body, you know, really allows you to.
Yeah,
So.
no, it's true. I mean, I still feel like I'm getting better as I age too. You know, there's things in my game that I feel like I'm better at now. I'm a better pitcher and wedge player than I ever was when I played on tour. I was a terrible pitcher and chipper. To be a tour level player, I was never a great pitcher and chipper. You know, and you know, you got to be great.
Yeah, so there's some part of you that is like, you know what, if my game starts getting to a point, because you know where your game needs to be competitive out there, right? That's the thing, you know, for guys who've never been out there, they don't know because they've never been to that level, but you have, so you know where your game needs to be. Have you thought maybe, hey, I might pick them up again and maybe give it a run, or?
Yeah, I mean, that thought's there. I definitely want to compete a little bit. I don't know if I'll chase the tour or what, I don't know what I would do, honestly, as far as that goes, but I want to do, you know, some open qualifiers and, you know, go play some state opens, play Long Beach, go play Colorado Open, do some stuff like that. I'm not done competing, but I would definitely try and get this teaching thing rolling. Yeah. And then I'll play some golf.
Can you kind of talk about that? Where are you at right now as far as like where you're teaching at, and and you know what's going on right now?
Well, basically, I started teaching over at Madrona, over there in Gig Harbor, and I got a call from the Gig Harbor Country Club. I don't know if do you guys know where that golf course is?
I've never played it, but I know
it's a little 9-hole golf course, dude. It's in great shape. I went over there, and Ryan Willie wants me to come over and teach over there, so I'm gonna go over to Gig Harbor and teach there too. They got a full length driving range, and it's nice. There's only 200 members. It's in great shape, and we can go out on the golf course too. The greens are freaking awesome, dude. Greens are really good shape, so I'm excited, dude. It's gonna be fun to help the kids. I like I said, I think last week we talked. I love helping kids because they're so eager to learn, and you know, it's just fun to help those guys a lot. See the smiles on people's faces when you teach them something and they're like it clicks. It's a good feeling because you know that they're seeing some progress. You know that they have something to leave from you and actually go work on, because it's like people are like, when they go out there, it's like they're working on. They don't even know what they're working on. Yeah. It's like jumping in a car and not having a direction to go. Yeah. You know, or buying a set of tools that you don't know how to fucking use. Yeah. It's like, why don't you figure out how to use them, then go practice? Yeah. So you have something to actually like a direction to go. Sure. You know?
What's one thing that like an amateur that's trying to get better, in your opinion, like where should their focus be?
Swinging and balance. Swinging and balance.
Yeah.
Because if you don't swing and balance, you don't have power anyways. Most people want to have power. Yeah. Okay, and if you don't, I don't care what sport you play, if you're not doing it in balance, you don't have power. So most people that I see are swaying off the ball, you know, a lot of lower, you know, leg movement, and if you're getting out of balance right away, you know, you don't have power. So a lot of these guys that are 65, it's like, oh, I just want to hit it 30 yards further. Well, it's speed. Yeah. You got to create some speed, and doing that's balance and swinging in balance. And if you can't swing it in balance, then
you're gonna be all over the map.
Well, that's for a 65-year-old. Take a 25-year-old, or take me for example. I hit the ball a long way, but when you do that, it makes you want to see how much farther you can hit it.
Absolutely.
So regardless of skill level or any of that, I think that's really important, and that's something I really had to focus on, of just trying to remember to stay grounded, and to swing easy. Like you have a great swing. You swing really smooth. I swing pretty hard, and we hit it roughly the same distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm sure that's something that you see all the time, right? It's a pretty common mistake. Guys just trying to.
Well, you got enough speed where it's you can go out at 100%, but dude, you only need about 80.
Right.
You know.
It's just hard to get yourself to actually do it.
It is. Well, that's the mental part of it for you, standing over it going, dude, I have this in the bag, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's you going, if I swing in balance, I'm going to hit it hard anyways. I don't need to swing out of control.
Right.
Just swing in balance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that about covers everything that we're going to be covering today.
Yeah, for sure.
Troy,
go for it.
Oh no, Troy, thanks so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For all, for everybody out there, he's teaching at Madrona, potentially Gig Harbor Country Club.
Yep.
I know personally, Troy has made a huge impact in my golf game, and is just a real treat to work with. And I know everybody out there will just love him. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I'll throw into that too. You're a really good dude, man. You've always been super generous to me and my dad when you didn't have to be, and I love doing this, and it's cool to become friends with guys like you, but first and foremost, I'm a fan, you know what I mean? And I love watching guys' careers and all that, so it's cool, man. I love to see what you're doing now and trying to give back and do that. And so as far as the podcast goes, we want to do this weekly. We want to get guys like you in here. We'd love for you to be a regular guest anytime you would like to come in. Open door policy for sure. And we just want to keep doing this. This is our first run. Let us know what you think, how it went. We want to continue to do this because this is a shit ton of fun for me, man. So.
Absolutely.
I like it, dude. Yeah, I'd love to come help you guys out, and if I can help you guys with your games or anybody else, let me know. I'd love to help.
Perfect.
Cool, man.
All right. Cheers.
We're out.
Yep.
Thanks, boys.
That was fun. How long was that? Let's see what people had to say.